So we have finally made it back to Key West. And what that really means is that we finally get to take a decent stab at fixing our black tank problem. So in this video, keep your fingers crossed because we're taking you with us to see if we can fix our issue.
So we definitely weren't hoping that this was going to be a 3-part video series, but it seems like when you start to work on projects in an RV, things get dragged out. So this is the stuff that we got in order to get this job done. So the main piece that we needed, this is the piece that actually cracked, and this is just called a flange. This should be glued to the existing pipe that we have in the setup, and this piece has a big old crack right in the middle of it. So we knew we needed to replace this piece, but we were kind of undecided if we needed to replace this whole system that was in here all the way down to the bottom, or if we could just replace a piece and kind of patch it together that way. Ideally, we wanted to reuse as much as possible, so we picked up this piece. We also picked up a new waste valve from Camping World, I believe, and just got this. We don't know if we have to replace this because we won't really know what we're dealing with until we kind of cut it open, but we got one of these in case we need to replace this. Also here, this is stuff we already had, but we got a multi-tool that we're gonna use to cut the pipe. And then the plan is that once we cut the pipe off, we bought this, is called a socket saver. We've also seen it just called a pipe reamer. But the plan basically is to cut this pipe open, clean it up as much as we can, and then with that, we'll use a drill and drill out the existing PVC connection. Once we drill that out, hopefully we can use this PVC cleaner and PVC cement to put the new piece on, and then we should have a solid structure to be able to screw in, because that's the main problem right now. This is cracked and we don't have a solid structure to screw in. So we've got all the supplies, we've got some gloves to hopefully make this a little bit cleaner. But I've already taken the liberty of flushing this tank. I've flushed it probably 15 to 20 times just by filling up the toilet on the inside and then letting it all drain out. And basically I did that until it was completely clear and then let it sit for a few hours. So hopefully this is, anything that is left in there has maybe dried up a little bit, and when we cut it open, hopefully we're not gonna have stuff spewing out. But we have bowls and rags and backup stuff in case that happens.
Drop it in. These nuts and bolts, it seems that they've been hard to reach and also hard to see in there, so we've upgraded him to a headlamp.
Going out for an adventure. So I got the bolts, the 4 bolts out of this. Okay, that's not quite coming there. So that's the gray valve. So really, we didn't even need to take this off aside from getting access to the rest of the black. So I'm gonna set this aside.
Get that sucker out of there.
Shimmy it down.
Yeah!
I struck oil.
That is exactly what we wanted to get out. Amazing.
Okay, so it's pretty gross, but yeah, you can see how this thing should be a square and it's completely cracked and caved in.
And then all the venom looking stuff is the flex paste. All right, so I brought over our sewage pipe here and I have a bleach sprayer. So I am just gonna spray this thing down since we're gonna get our hands all over it, and then I'm gonna wash it. Just so that way I don't feel as gross about touching this. The pipe is now all clean, so you can actually get a pretty good look at the crack here. So this piece, that, I know there's all this grime on it, but this plastic here.
Snapped, and then that side.
Wow. Oh, so both sides snapped.
Yeah, we want to get this piece out of here so that we can replace it and put a new one in.
Because the rest of this entire thing is good. There's no cracks in that. So we saw that some people recommended to use a heat gun. So then you could potentially unbond the PVC cement that's in there and pull that piece out. We do have that reamer tool though, which in theory should also drill it out. We might try the heat gun to see the success there, since it would be ideal to not use a reamer if we don't have to. Let's see what works.
Okay, now cut this piece off the top. So what we're left with is basically the remnants of the old piece inside the inner piece. So we've got to figure out how to get that off, either by heating it or scoring it, or maybe we'll use the reamer.
The heat gun seemed like it possibly could work, but I think that there's a higher likelihood that we're gonna end up bending the elbow connection, that we're not gonna get a watertight seal with our flange. And that would suck, because then we would kind of have to start over at square one. So I think the reamer is the way to go. Like, we already have a clean cut. I feel like the difference, like with the heat gun, you can do like little by little, feel good about it. To where this, there's like no going back. But it will be square, I suppose, or it'll be clean, ideally. So, all right, changing gears. Let's clean out that hole and see what we got. So we're shit is flying everywhere. Okay, so we're back from drilling this out with the reamer, and some bad news. So the good news is that the reamer did the proper job. It's quite dark out, so it's hard to see, but we cut all that out. It's quite smooth in there. The problem is our flange. We bought a 3-inch flange thinking that was the interior size. So it does not go in. It is the same exact size as the outer diameter of this pipe. So that brings us to the point that we need to identify if we can buy the part that fits within here so it can be flush. We had the idea of just connecting it like this with a 3-inch PVC on the inside, but we don't have this inch room here to extend this, since this is where our gray comes. So this is exactly why we waited to get to Key West to do this, because by us pulling out this entire thing and taking out our Jimmy rig fix, there's no way to put this back and without that part, which means we cannot use any running water in our RV. We can't use the gray because the gray is supposed to go here. We clearly can't use the black. So that means my parents are getting some roommates till we figure out a part or order this entire new piece and get this job done. Today is a new day. That means we have new parts. And this time, I really do think that we got it right. So let me show you some of the new parts that we got. So previously, our old problem was, this was the old flange that we bought from Camping World that we were under the impression it would fit, but it was the same size. There is an RV guy up the keys here.
You're in the camera.
Mom, get out of my shot. So luckily there's actually an RV guy up the keys here that he has kind of like everything when it comes to RV parts. So it's actually Phil from Spindrift. So if you come down to the keys, you have any sort of RV problems, Phil knows his stuff. Called him up, he knew exactly what we needed, has the price. This part was $5.39, and this fits right in to our pipe, exactly what we need. We also bought some heavy duty PVC cement. This is pretty much the thickest PVC cement that Home Depot sells. So we're gonna give this a very light sanding, and then this should allow us to get a water type and black tank tight seal. And then assuming all of this works, I no longer have to be using my parents' bathroom. So fingers crossed.
Our next step is gonna be putting this pipe back in the same position that it has to be when it's permanently fixed. And then we need to mark this, because we could install this in any sort of direction. So it needs to line up exactly with the way that the other screw holes are lined up on the existing pipe in there. I put that orange marker paint. so that we have the right alignment. Now we just have to go take everything out. Probably gonna wait for that paint to dry, take everything out, then we can fix it permanently with our PVC cement.
Okay, I think we just put them together now.
All right, orange line up.
Show you our mark here. Trying to line up the orange with orange. Is that lined up?
Looks like it.
Seems like it could. I don't know, I think that's lined up. So as we're waiting for that to set, Brendan had the idea to do a little tinkering, and we found something that's gonna be actually really nice.
Yeah, so ever since we bought this RV, the black and the gray handles were completely backwards, and it never really bothered us too much. Like, we knew which one to pull, but it was always a little bit of a weird thing. When we were doing research on these, I noticed at Camping World that you could buy just these individual handles. So Gabby's like, why don't we see if we can twist them off and swap, because the one we bought for the black tank came with a gray handle. So I couldn't do it by hand because this whole thing rotates, but grabbing it with pliers, you are able to twist this thing right off. So we're gonna take these off and swap the handles, and then we should be, you know, accurate after this.
It is like such a small thing, but just being like, pull the black for the black tank is so nice. It's been so weird, just like the past 2 years. I'm like, oh yeah, you pulled the gray for the black tank. Looking back, we should have done this when we got the RV. That's awesome. Oh.
Okay. That was an absolute pain in the butt to get this back in there, because whoever installed this in the first place, it is not straight. So had to go around all the different curves in there. This part, the gray tank, was not the part that was broken, but it was definitely the hardest to get on and off. But now we've gotten that done. So now we've gotten it roughly positioned, the PVC has set, and now our last step is gonna be installing our new black tank valve along with the new seals and hardware. So hopefully we can get the rest of this done, and then I guess we'll do a check to see if everything's working. I think that everything's tightened down, at least from what we can tell. So we're gonna go inside and run a little bit of water and see if this holds, and then see if it drains properly.
Oh. Well. You can hook this up. All right.
These dishes we've been putting off all day because we didn't have plumbing connected.
Yeah, so now we can at least have some clean dishes, and hopefully it all drains right. We'll see.
Go put some water in the toilet. Okay, let's go see if that held after doing some dishes and filling the toilet up a bit.
I was just gonna say, if it didn't hold up, I'm not emotionally ready to accept that.
Let's go find out.
Are you ready?
Water stopped. Time for the black.
Okay. Okay, I'm pulling it! Yeah! Suckers! Yo, that totally works! I'm gonna sleep so good tonight. Brendan, good job. Good job.
We've now used our black. This is probably like the 10th time we've used it without leaks. I almost forgot what it was like for it to be working normally.
Wow, and I just pushed that valve handle back in. The valve is totally, I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at you, but I'm like, the valve handle is like way smoother now too. This is so far a success. If we would have had the right parts to begin with, I mean, it's still an annoying job just from where everything is located, but it's like totally doable. I'm still so happy that we waited to get to Key West, having an RV parts guy that we could run to here, having materials and stuff accessible and close by.
And when we were without a toilet, Gabby's parents live probably 500 feet over there. So
yeah,
we had to go to the bathroom. We had that as a backup, which was really nice.
Yeah, because like it's one thing to not be able to use your toilet, but when we pulled out that part and realized the valve flange that we got was the wrong size, we couldn't use any running water in our rig because it would just dump out of the part that we just removed. That was really stressful, but we went for like, I guess it was probably like 12 hours like that, and now we have it all fixed. So that is so exciting. Oh my God.
Good job.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is gonna do it for this video. We will keep you updated on if anything else goes on with this. I pray we don't make another video on this. I am so done. I feel totally similar to our roof when we did all of that work, got it done. Same thing with this. I'm glad we now have the experience, and I hope to not have to use it again. Guys, thank you for those that have been with us from the start of this black tank mayhem, because now we should all be resolved. We will catch you guys next week. See you then.